gentlemen in the city of Wilmington, the state of Delaware, Mr. J. Street, Councilman of the world. Anytime you have a problem, that's the guy you go speak to, because you know they don't listen to him. Litigation's coming.
They call him way down Georgetown one time. The man told Jay, after Jay got on his case, the man said, "I'll take you on my pig farm."
Yes, and then to his left we have Richard Smith, the person who's been in this fight for a long time, and it truly has a heart for the people. We speaking earlier, you wanted to talk about crime. You just came back from Baltimore. There's a lot of things going on with you today, sir.
Well, let me say this, because Jay acts like he don't want to talk. I don't know what's wrong with him. Cat guy's talking or something. This book I got, it's Martin Luther King and Kennedy, John Kennedy, Martin Luther King. And one thing about this book, as I begin to read, I'm only on page 15 right now, but when John was a guy supposed to be cool out, President Kennedy, Martin was a hyper type guy. And when they used to meet, they would crash. Martin would go in there real mad and stuff. Mm-hmm. And when John decided to run for president, and they get the whole story how he led up to running for president, how Martin led up to being the great person he is. They asked King to support him. And King told him no. Because what Kennedy did was met with a guy named Robertson, or Governor Robertson in Georgia. It was Robertson in Georgia. He was segregation. And what Kennedy was doing, going around trying to be president, meeting with all the segregationists. Mm-hmm. And he kept on, wouldn't meet with the blacks. But at the last moment, he needed the blacks. He went, but he was running against Nixon. Jackie Robinson, who was close to Richard Nixon, and they were real close. And Jackie was a Republican. And Jackie told King, said, "How can you meet with this man? He's the worst man in the world." And Jackie said, he's an undercover racist. He's meeting all the segregations and stuff, and Jackie condemned him to support Nixon. And that's where I stopped at and went. But Jackie Robinson was a major player in politics, and something him and King was, and King was a Baptist preacher who was educated into social justice and stuff, but Jackie was a educator into politics and know politics real good. And it gives some more stories, like his father had this black guy, hired this black guy to go to Harvard with him, Kennedy, mm-hmm. And that black guy taught him how to dress, taught him how to mingle, everything. But at the end, when he won presidency, he gave the black guy in charge of all the secretaries and stuff, and then he took it away from the black guy and told the black guy, "I want you to mess with the cooks." And then as they met, he had black people on his campaign, and he segregated them in the rooms away from white folks and stuff. And the black guy said, "I know who you are now." So the book is good, and the other book is don't go for the okie doke, okay? And just tell how people come up and brainwash you to do stuff and brainwash the black community and everything. But it's all about the okie doke. It's all about lying to you and misleading you and stuff. And I haven't gotten to this yet, but I heard this on Joe Madison's show. So
what you think about that, sir? Have we been falling for the okie doke?
Well, we got to deal with the reality of what's going on here right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that folks understand how far we've gone backwards, how much things have not changed, and how much work there is to do. And if you look at just this week, Governor Carney did his first veto. He vetoed House Bill 85. Commend him for that. But what did House Bill 85 say? House Bill 85 said that the existing preference that students get for the 5.5 mile radius around Newark Charter School, we're going to take it out. And we're going to extend it to everybody in the Christina School District except for children in the city of Wilmington. To his credit, the governor vetoed it. But if you look back historically, you had segregationists in the General Assembly in the 60s who attempted, via the Educational Advancement Act of 1968, to isolate black children in the city of Wilmington. What's different about the Educational Advancement Act of 1968 and what was attempted here? Now, last year, we couldn't get the Wilmington Education Improvement Commission plan through the General Assembly. Well, there was nothing in it for folks downstate. They couldn't get the vote. What was in this for folks downstate that enabled it to go through? My point being, and fact of the matter is, from J Street's point of view, a new millennium segregationist is just that, a segregationist. And whether you be new millennium or straight up old school, segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever, the impact is just the same. And to the extent that here 50 years, 49 years after the Educational Advancement Act, we had this effort to once again isolate children in the city of Wilmington by themselves. It's a shame and disgrace, and we better wake up and understand. And more importantly, look at the governor's letter for the reasons he said he vetoed it. He acknowledged in no uncertain terms that children in the city of Wilmington had the greatest challenges, were the most at risk, and were suffering educationally. That's not the words in his letter. I wish I had it in front of me, but that's the impact of it. So we're right back to the same segregation that we endured, and the consequences are that our children, our schools are failing. As a result, our children are failing, and systemically nobody cares.
You know, everybody always says by design, and people always go back and forth with that argument, but you can clearly see if the educational system is failing our kids, how are they going to be productive, going to jobs, going to college, and being able to come back to, you know, to bring the city up to where everybody think it should be. You know, they don't have a strong tax base, you don't have home ownership, and everybody knows without strong home ownership, communities die.
But you look at the consequences of that, and I'm looking at the paper, radio stations this week. Touch money gang, this one sentenced, that one sentenced, double murder, murder here, 17, 18, 19 years old. Young men, teenagers, no hair on their face, convicted murderers, nobody cares. And Mouse started out saying tonight, well, Jay don't want to talk. Well, Jay started talking. It's time to take some action. It's time for this community to understand that really, in terms of the crime, in terms of the shooting, nobody in critical decision-making areas, no, systemically, the system does not care about black people shooting black people. And it's to the point, and I've held this now, you know, for probably almost 2 years. There are people in law enforcement, when you get a shooting and there's a black victim and somebody black does a shooting, they call that a twofer. They get 2 for 1. You know, they get one shooting victim, and then they got another person that they're going to at least incarcerate, and nobody cares. And I don't know if it's Shirley Chisholm, Barbara Jordan, but I think in the 70s said, ain't nobody gonna help us but us.
That was Shirley Chisholm.
And that's where we are right now. And you know, I'm real exasperated with everything that's going on. Look at over the last week, 2 weeks. All right? This time last year, we're at 71 shootings. Dennis is everything but a child of God.
Right.
All through the news journal. He's got to go. And they made it real clear. Now we're at 119 shootings. And
You know what?
there's no issue with this administration. Now, I don't have a problem with this administration.
Right.
I said Jim Sills didn't shoot anybody, Jim Baker didn't shoot anybody, Dennis Williams didn't shoot anybody, Mike Przicki didn't shoot anybody. All right, so I play hard, but I play fair. But how do you justify 119 shootings, and 71 was a problem last year when Dennis was the mayor, but it's not a problem now. But the last 2 weeks, the news journal's bothering Dennis, who's no longer in office, bothering Theo, who's no longer in office, bothering Hanifa, who had nothing to do with whatever the previous city council president had allocated in terms of funds, which has been going on for the last 20 years that I know about. And we don't have sense enough to wake up and see the purpose and intention of that is to see to it that we never have another black mayor.
But it's one thing that we don't want.
And they may get away with that,
Yeah.
but we got 3 years to say, enough is enough. And these continued attacks. Why are you, this administration is in place. There's been no attack on this administration,
Right.
but you still bothering Dennis and Theo. It's fundamentally unfair, it's wrong, and I believe that the purpose and intention of that is to do everything, just like they did everything they could to see to it Dennis was no longer in office. They're now doing everything they can to see to it that nobody black assumes that position again. And they may be right, but I think they're sadly mistaken. And 3 years from now, they're going to be proven wrong.
But let me say this. I was sitting at the Oddfellows last week, me and Webby and some of the guys and stuff. We were talking about Dennis, and I was talking about some things that happened during his term and stuff. And Webby looked at his mouth, hold it. Why are you talking to me about Dennis? So you can come in here and sit with us, but you on inside. We don't even know what you talking about. We don't even know what you guys doing out there because we ain't relating to you guys. We see Dennis as we see Dennis, as we see Dennis as a child, as a teenager, as an adult. Now, racist. Nobody want to talk about racist. They talk about racist when they get mad, but they don't talk about the 4 or 5 different forms of racist. Skinhead, Ku Klux Klan, segregations, and all that we got in Delaware, okay? Nobody talk about how Georgetown was and how Dover was years ago, Odessa and stuff.
Why are you talking about how it was? How is it now?
Now.
How is that General Assembly right now?
But it's the
This
same
year
way.
in 2017.
It's
What is the difference between the new millennium segregationists of the day and last year who refused to act on the WIG plan? They were going to put forward this legislation and passed it to see to it that children in the city of Wilmington didn't have the same access as everybody else. What the hell is the difference between these new millennium segregationists in 2017 than the segregationists we had in the 50s?
I'm gonna tell you different. The difference is that we messed around and gave downstate the power. We had a chance to vote a president of the city council, president of the House of Representatives in, but we didn't. Okay, Margaret now is, Senator Henry is the whip, okay? And the whole concept is that we talk all the time, but we never put our own in. The only time we put our own in, Jay, was this time. It was so many people running this time, black, that I couldn't understand where all this money was coming from. So many people for mayor, so many people for this, and was nobody running really for the state seats. Nobody really wasn't doing nothing to educate the folks out in the community that we are about one step from being back in slavery. We are about one step from losing our homes. We are about one step from not having jobs. We are about one step from being a totally white city and probably county again. And Philadelphia is 2 steps from it. And New York is 3 steps from it.
So what's our responsibility as so-called leadership? What's our responsibility as a people to do something to bring about systemic change? Now, I had an opportunity last week to talk to a group of high school students, and the question was, do you think things have gone back to where they were? My answer was yes. Okay? And I told those students, and I'm not going to live to see fairness in this country. I'm not going to live, having spent 42 years in the arena, I'm not going to live to see fairness in this school system. And it's going to be, because our generation, who benefited immensely from the struggle, failed to give back, do anything. You know, I've arrived, I've got the Beamer, the Lexus, whatever, and a house in the county, and the heck with everybody else. I got mine, you got yours to get.
But they don't want to be black. We got so many people that don't want to be black. They don't want to be Afro-American, or as the white man said years ago, a Negro. They don't want to be that. They want to be accepted someplace but where they came from. Okay?
Until they get stopped by the police, and then they quickly find out we all get treated the same. And James Brown said it in the 60s, talking black, living all the Negro they can.
But the other thing is, we sit as leaders, right? And I can't say about Jay or you two, because you're around kids from our neighborhoods every day. You have a chance to mingle with them, talk to them, and teach them. But a lot of us leaders not going to 8th and Pond, 22nd and Pond, 26th and Jessup, Southbridge, and hang out or talking to these folks to educate them. A lot of people is not standing up in church and basically saying that you guys need to pay attention to this and you folks need to pay attention to this and roll your sleeves up. A lot of folks is not saying that we're going to give the true story about Mike, about Dennis, everybody else. A lot of folks is not selling nothing how critical is right now what's going on with our community. They did a survey woman in the United States on black killings, right? Black and white killings, because somebody mentioned Joe Madison. And the survey came out that 91% of blacks kill blacks. It sound bad, right?
It's the same way with.
But hold on, it sound bad, right? But 87 or 88% white kill white.
Right.
So we keep on saying the black neighborhoods killing each other. Black neighborhoods killing each other, okay? But we don't say how beautiful the black community is. I got into an argument today. The guy told me, oh, he lived down Barry, right? But he's up to, oh, how bad Wilmington. I said, man, why are you saying that? I say certain neighborhoods that got problems in Wilmington, not the whole Wilmington. I said, but you don't want to be black. You can sit here and criticize everything that black people do, but you haven't said nothing about a white person yet. And you refuse to say something about a white person. But we can look at all our mistakes and we can say, well, this black person is crazy, or this black person is this, or this black person ain't doing it. But we never give a word of encouragement to nobody no more like we used to.
And what is there to be encouraged about? You got 119 shootings, 11 of them juveniles, and nobody's doing anything differently. And you've got proliferation of vacant houses, which are havens for crime, and nobody's saying anything about it. Now we go to start, and I was happy to see the beginning of saturation of police officers in West Center City. All right? Isn't that wonderful? And they're sitting in the cars, walking, or standing on the corner looking at their Texas. They took back some of Washington Street. They took back some of, they were walking in the streets west of Washington Street. And so the bad guys just moved right over on West Street and started laughing at them.
And 8th and West, all up and down
That's
there.
all they're going to do. I mean, that's always been that way.
But the key, you know, back in the 60s, Jay, when somebody didn't have a home, they used to go and take them, okay? And when they found out that the city cops couldn't remove them because they were federal homes, it was only the marshals could come in and move them. And we need to teach the folks or find a way to deal with the folks. If there is a board up houses, let's find a way for them to claim their house.
You know, I mean, talking about boarded houses, there's a program, well, I spoke about it before, we got boarded up houses, we got unemployment, and we got people that are not trained. We got people coming home from prison that needs training and they need jobs. Like they do in the county or interfaith, you get these homes, you get these guys off the street, you train them in building trades, you fix these houses up. Now they done learned how to do some work, they're earning some money, you beautifying your neighborhood because you're building up these houses. And the one thing that I've learned in the past is if they work in those houses and clean that neighborhood up, they're gonna protect that neighborhood and they're gonna protect the houses because now they vested in that.
I have a problem, and we're gonna talk about the meeting we had too. I have a problem with a lot of things when it comes to that. We place so much friendship, hiring, so much friendship favoritism, so much friendship this, that we lose the big picture. That the ones who really need help, the ones who really is in bad shape, we skip past them. Like when Twin Brown and Holloway and all them started the food programs, the giveaways. The one thing they used to tell me, well, Mouse, if you go to somebody's house, you see 2 color TVs and lights out on. They don't need no basket. They got enough money to pay for that. Okay. But sometimes you have to go past that because a lot of black folks like to put on a front that get a BMW, but don't have a place to stay. Get a new pair of shoes, but don't have a dime to buy a meal. So we want people to feel good about our appearance and what we have, but inside of us, we are balling up. We are so unhappy because we cannot be like the rest of the race. Now, when I talk to the Jamaicans Friday and the blacks and stuff, I say, it's a difference, to my brothers from Jamaica, it's a difference between you all and us. We were brought here to build up a country. And after we built this country, they no longer want us no more. They kicking us in education, they kicking us in jobs, they kicking us in health, they kicking us in every way we can. They know you guys can pack up right away and go back to your country. But we have no place to go. And we as the leadership has got to touch this community the way Hicks and them did and hit those streets and begin to turn people's minds around, because we ain't doing it right now.
You know, we got one thing I hear all the time, and you said it before on the show, these guys are willing to listen, but the first thing they're gonna ask for, who gonna pay me? Who gonna give me a job? Cause
they see other people getting program money. Don't think that our community is so crazy that somebody get $50,000, $100,000, somebody get this, and they supposed to be running a program. Next thing you know, they got a nice car, their clothes change, they come out a little different. Don't think those folks don't think that they getting a piece off that money, because folks ain't crazy. So when the young folks come up and say, well, hey, y'all getting paid, we want to get paid. Ain't Al Sharpton say on his TV, on his radio show, there's no such thing as volunteer no more. You got to figure a way how to pay people to do a job. You can't have nobody volunteering and they hungry, they ain't got a place to stay, they can't pay the bills, they can't take the kids out to McDonald's, they can't do nothing. But we say volunteer. Election time, we say volunteer. Volunteer for what? When everybody we volunteer for is getting paid.
What you gonna say, Jay?
No, I just think that historically, as we went into the civil rights struggle, we did confrontation, demonstration, litigation, legislation. I have to go back for that. It seems as though we're accepting the change and we're not fighting back. And what I'm sitting here outraged about is it's time to fight back. It's past time. It's time to start speaking up and speaking out, and it's time to start fighting back. And if you look at 17, 18, 19-year-olds, multiple murder charges, so-called touch money gang, Where else children get those guns? And when I sat here probably a year ago, maybe a little longer, and said the so-called Violence Network Prevention Program and the technical assistance they were giving the city was greatly appreciated, but it was woefully insufficient, okay? Because, number one, you got a 240-page document put together over a 6-month period of time that clearly says the city of Wilmington, it's recommended the city of Wilmington have its own team of U.S. Marshals. Well, you know, they were criticizing the former chief, they were criticizing the former mayor, what parts of the so-called plan wasn't done, but that wasn't even attempted, hasn't been talked about. But when I said the federal policing agencies, be it DEA, ATF, FBI, U.S. Marshals, they're supposed to be specialists and experts in guns, drugs, and gangs. Well, right now we have a problem with guns, drugs, and gangs.
But Jay,
but everybody's on silent night. But see, let them start shooting down that riverfront.
Oh, yeah.
Let them start shooting up in Hocassin and Centerville, and you'll have U.S. Marshals, FBI, Homeland Security, and everybody else. But as long as it's young black men killing young black men in the city of Wilmington, nobody gives a damn.
Jay, but Jay.
And now we have a so-called opioid epidemic.
Before you
Well, we had
that.
an opioid epidemic in the city of Wilmington and in cities across this country for the past 50, 60 years that I know about.
Yeah.
All right, but it wasn't a problem as long as it was only impacting the city of Wilmington, only impacting low-income people and people of color. Now that it's impacting everybody, it's a problem.
And it's crazy because the Narcan now, they talking about having it so it's over the counter.
They are selling over the counter.
Yeah.
But let me say this to you. How many of our leadership read the report, then come back and say, well, the state got to play a major role in this. Then the feds, the senators got to play a major role. How many of our leadership had got together and say, we are tired being tired, we want the feds in here, we want it now, we are voters, we need the feds, we need these people in our community. We don't say that. We give all politicians a buy. Some reason they get a buy to go and do what they want to do, and everything they do a lot of the stuff, I ain't say everything, but a lot of stuff they do don't benefit our community. And then I always say this, when I look at the Constitution of the city of Wilmington, the Constitution of the county, the Constitution of the state, and the corporation papers of other little towns and stuff, they say when you run for office, you no longer got really an obligation to people. You got an obligation to the town, the city, and the state you live in to protect that property and make sure that the money come in and make sure that the laws come in that ain't destroying land. Because everything about politicians was about land. Everybody, Civil War was land. Everything's land. So we come up and we group our politicians together as community leaders, as savers of the community, and they ain't savers of the community. They ain't job makers. They ain't people that basically can deal with education. They are people who fund that stuff. And when they can't fund, they get a bill to try to make it right. But years ago with Hicks and all of them, we was the decision makers. We was the ones who was doing this. And we gotta figure a way how to separate our priorities and get it right.
Okay, but how do you justify, on the one hand, you got a DA in Pennsylvania who says, I'm breaking this mess up in Chester.
And did it.
I'm putting the state police in the streets.
Because they asked for them. I'm up Chester, Jay.
They're going to patrol Chester.
But
and I'm putting up X amount of dollars. All you need to do is pick up the phone and tell me somebody got an illegal gun. You're going to get paid, we're going to go get the gun.
Right.
Where's the initiative here?
But they asked for them. See, what Jay ain't understand about Chester, I'm up Chester 3 times a week. The casino, the pro hockey team, and the mayor and stuff got together and asked the state to come in and do that. And then Representative Kirkland, which is also the mayor of Chester, he got with the Democrat governor, and he asked for it. We ain't asked for nothing. We get reports and stuff and think that we can do it ourselves. We think that we are expert in everything, but we ain't expert. We ain't expert in law enforcement.
Okay, let me ask you this. Damn near double the shootings from last year. 11 juveniles. How many people in key decision-making positions have even opened their mouth about it?
You know none. Why those trick questions you shooting at me, okay? And you keep on saying the same thing. When are you going to get the leadership around the table and say, hey, we need to move on this?
But it happened before.
Oh, no. When are you going to do it? You can sit up there and talk loud, but you got the power and people love you so much that you can get around the table and you can almost have the people marches, have the people going up to Senator Coon's office, Carper's office, and Senator Rochester's office, and get the people here. You know, let's not fool ourselves. We got more power than you think we have. We act like we ain't got nothing, but when you want something for yourself, you know how to get it.
What do I want for myself?
I mean, when you want some R's, when you want some, but let's use the power you got. And won't you call the summit?
I am a councilman.
Won't you call the summit?
I am a councleman.
Won't you call the summit?
I am a councilman.
Won't you call you more than a councilman?
But I'm just a councilman.
No, you also see you cop like the rest of the leadership do.
No.
One minute that councilman.
Every time you call me and tell me to come on this show and speak up and speak out.
Do it.
Well then, so
Okay,
so what's your beef with me?
But my beef is now, won't you call the summit?
The plan that I wrote.
Won't you call the summit?
Why don't you call it?
You're JPC.
Why don't you call it? You're the former state president in NAACP. You scared?
You got more power I got. Nobody don't pay me no mind.
Okay.
Nobody pay me no mind. They
Fact of the matter
they
is-
say I'm a hellraiser.
The fact of the matter is, we all have a responsibility.
Yes.
And when you have a responsibility, I have a responsibility, and you know full well it's going to take more than us. All right, and it's going to take more than sitting here talking about it on a TV show. Leadership has to come forward, step up, and 17, 18, 19-year-olds going to jail for double murders. And we're making all these decisions, saying all these things, and most of the people sitting around the table as old as me. The young people have the challenges, they're creating the problems, and we're leaving them out of the conversation.
Yeah,
that's mistake number one. If you want to resolve, if we're serious about trying to resolve
Bring them
this,
in.
we've got to include them
Bring 'em
in
in.
the process and the decision-making process, and we got to hear from them. Nobody's even talking to them.
But we have.
We talk about them.
But we
we
got
talk
two
to
great
'em.
ones.
We talk down to them too.
But we got young men out there outside of Eugene Young. You know, everybody knows Vash, his heart, and Cooley I talk about a lot because he's from the streets and the things that he do. But are we getting these guys together and grooming them and teaching them how to take that next step? Or we're assuming that they're gonna just learn it as they go?
No, you know what? We too busy. We too busy trying to be ourselves. We too busy listening to them, but we going about our business. We too busy to tell them, come pick our brains, and then you go do what you gotta do, and we'll support you 100%. NAACP tomorrow night in Baltimore is giving a hip hop to justice. They bring in Curtis Blow, Kumar Deek, and all those guys in. And what they're gonna do is get the young people in, and the young folks gonna run this show, but the message is gonna be guns, stop shooting, everything like that. And they're gonna try to get the hip hop people to begin to change their message to get to the community and begin to talk to these folks. You know, when Jay first started, Jay started a young man, and Hicks took time to listen to him. Okay, his mother took time to listen to him. And that's why Jay is the awesome leader that he is today, because he has some folks that say, I ain't gonna close my ears to you, but I'm gonna listen to you. And you know, that's what we got to do.
We make an assumption that we got all the sense and the young people don't have none.
They got more than we got.
I think that's a strategic error.
Right.
Because they have the challenges, they know how they're feeling, and they have some solutions. And the only problem I have is they also have a giving mentality. give me this and give me that. Well,
Right.
nobody's gonna give you anything.
I take
You're gonna have to earn it.
But
All
they
right.
Get it.
But we haven't shown them the way to earn it, to get it, and nor have we given them responsibilities and recognized, just as we said earlier, the people who have benefited immensely and the most as a result of the struggle are the ones that have turned their back, and it's now up to the next generation
And the one thing
to be involved, come involved,
Yeah.
and work with the generation coming behind them.
And the one thing we have to learn is they're gonna make mistakes. I think sometimes, older people see a young person make a mistake and then turn their back. They're not ready. They made a mistake, but at least they trying.
Yeah,
they
but
put
Ron,
forth the energy. You know what
Ron,
I mean?
just like they say about getting paid and stuff, and like I tell you what, Al say, and some more leaders say, but the whole thing about the situation is they let them keep on asking for money and stuff, but they got to have letdowns. I had many letdowns. People didn't want me around. People said I couldn't talk. People said I was rowdy. People said I wasn't right. All this stuff. I kept on going. I had a lot of dirt in my life because people reject me. But at the end of the day, rejection make you stronger and stronger and make you want to get. So these guys, I think what the guys you talking about, I think we need to give them the show one night. And we need to have them on, and we need to listen to them, and we need to begin the movement, because there's got to be a movement for the black community. If we don't have a movement pretty soon, it's deep. Up to the mayor's office, one thing we talk about is that I was talking about the homestead program. Dan Farley did a homestead program years ago, and I got a house. That house across the street from you, Jay, the big house. I had that house first. And I went up there and bid for a house. I didn't know it. I had no money. I didn't have no protection. I was getting next thing you know, they called me and say, "Mr. Smith, you got this house." I couldn't fix that house. I didn't have no money enough, so I had to give it to the developer.
Right.
And come to find out that Paulette Benefield wound up getting it, Councilman Paulette Benefield. But at the end, they did say, and Bud Frio said too, Councilman Frio, I like what they said when I talked to him, when I seen Councilman Frio outside. He said, "Mouse, I'm into houses." I said, well, how about giving the houses to the folks in the community and find some funds so they can fix it up, and it's their house.
Right.
And if they decide to sell a piece, come back to the community for painting the houses, cleaning the communities up and stuff, and then give it to development. Same thing was said by Mike to Bud. You know what he say? We ain't giving development nothing. I want to give it to the nonprofit organizations around the community. Let them, when the folks don't want, let them have it. That's on the table now. That's a way our community can grow, because Philadelphia had corporations, community corporations, and they give all drug houses to the community corporation, and they do painting on the walls, they do vegetable gardens, they fix up the houses in the community. That's why a lot of them look good. We got to put some stake back in the community, and that the community, just like the old homestead, take over these houses.
Yep, and that's why I said these guys can do the work.
How long you been working on the port?
40 years.
How many?
40.
Well, do you have any idea now that the election's over and we had all this chatter about expanding the port? Where is that at now? Is it ongoing? Is it dead on arrival? What?
My understanding, they got over 40 investors that came in, and they gonna narrow it down to I think 15, something like that.
Can I ask you a
Who was
question?
they?
Huh?
Who was they?
The board and the group was put together. It was a group put together. Kamoko and them was a group put together.
So all of a sudden, they found all these investors when they moved it up to Edgemore
Well,
and Claymont.
no. Let's back up. Let's not make false charges.
I'm just asking.
Because when they sold the city, when the city sold the port to the state, we had 22 investors.
Okay.
Okay, we had Japanese, Chinese, the bridge, and everybody come in. And then John Coyne was the middleman between the Governor Coyne, and it was who was best for the port and who was best for organized crime. I mean, organized labor. I'm sorry.
You're going to hear about that tomorrow. I didn't say it.
I'm sorry.
Mouth
I'm
said
really
it.
sorry.
Mouth said that, not me.
And who was best for that? And what we did, I was negotiating for 1694-1. Gary Malone was the president of 1694. William Lacey was president 1883. And I think George McManus was president of 1884. And we didn't choose the bridge because they were non-union. We stood hard on that. We didn't choose the Japanese because we thought the Japanese were going to come in and bring their people. That's when we choose the state. And what the states say real clear, that the port at the time needed $690 million to bring up the date. This was 20 years ago, okay?
Did the state put the 690 in?
They didn't have. They said they was too small. They could give them a little bit of money. They were too small because they didn't have the population and stuff to do that. 700,000 won't be able to do nothing like that. So what they told the port, we would do economic development and fixing things up, and then the port had to pay payroll, elected and stuff like that. And
But that was over 20 years ago.
yeah,
Okay, we had all this hoopla over the last couple of years about the expansion of the port. Is it going forward or not?
Yes,
Are we
it's moving fast.
Are we going to create these jobs or not?
it's moving fast.
Okay, well,
And I can say to you that as you are a part of that community of the port, because you are a representative on the county side, your district go right down, I think it's Christianity Road, and you go right into the port. You can sit down with our director, and he will explain to you, or you can sit down with the chairman of the board, which is the Secretary
I'm
of State.
just interested. I'm in pursuit of those $20,000 jobs we talked about, to try to put some of these young people to work to shut down this crime. The second question I have, Mr. Former State Branch President, in your absence, NAACP on strike. What's going on?
I can't speak for the NAACP.
I'm just asking you what's going on.
I got defeated. I can't speak for that. And I was on my way out anyway because I was tired of Negroes not listening to me and stepping away and leaving me out there by myself. I got tired.
My point
is this: I can't speak for President Jackson. You guys got to speak. Y'all can bring him on the show, and I'll step to the side and you can speak.
Okay. My point being facetious. Okay. We're in critical and dangerous times. Got an all-time high level of crime, not only just in the city of
Where's
Wilmington,
President Brittingham? He should be the one.
Not only in the city of Wilmington, but in Dover and statewide. Our schools are on continual decline, and folks don't understand the harsh reality is, and well, we found a way to balance the budget. No, we didn't. And as long as you have created a dual school system, okay, because when you fund all those charter schools and those children are no longer going to the public schools, then that takes away from the funding for the regular public schools, which is why all these districts have to keep passing referendums. In the meantime, nobody has an economic development plan for the state, county, or the city. And so you're going to keep on raising taxes, both at every government level, and you're going to keep on having referendums for all these school districts that are going to try to operate.
But you can't keep on raising taxes in a state that's only got 791.
We agree
you can't
on something.
do that. Yeah. You can't do that because it's too many. 23% of the population in the state of Delaware is below $18,000. Some of them below $12,000. So you can't raise tax. You can't raise tax. County raise taxes. The schools raise taxes. The state raise taxes. The city raise taxes. And then the stores raise taxes. And then your tags go up. Your insurance go up. Everything you make is going out back to where it came from, the state. And next thing you know, you sleep on the street with
That's why I asked about the port expansion, because I still maintain the view that that piece of infrastructure within the city is critical to the long-term well-being of the city.
Right.
And if that's acted on and is taken care of in a responsible manner, then we still got some hope. If that falls through,
Man, we gonna
it's
be in trouble.
catastrophic.
Yeah, but what we need to do, since we he's wind down.
He can hit me in the face
What-
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, but what we
It's
need,
on- it's on camera.
What we,
I know.
Yeah, what we need. I'm poor. I ain't got no money. But what we need to do is invite Kamoko and the Secretary of State and the folks on here, and let them explain to the people where it's going.
No, I'm just saying, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Right.
but
All right,
my
that-
opinion.
that-
But I just gave you a solution of what we can do.
Yes,
we
sir.
can get.
Well, it's your show.
No, it's our show. You got just as much authority to this show around you than I do.
Yeah, okay.
I have never been selfish.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's really the people's show. Anybody can come on if they want to, but the concept, call the people in who's dealing with this, and let the people come. Now, when you talk about the NWC, now not only don't say the NWC, let's say the Urban League, the 100 Black Ladies,
Keep
the
on going.
Qs, the Caps, all of them. Where they at?
All right, Mouse, looking at the clock, you got a minute and 30 seconds.
Well, the only thing I can say to the community is don't believe the okey doke. If nobody can give you facts and numbers on what's going on, don't believe it. Just don't believe it, because at the end, when you suffer, I suffer. And we're all gonna suffer, our babies are gonna suffer. Let's save our babies. And by saving the baby, is a hell of a thing to lose. Let's get back to education and find a way to go to court.
Councilman?
Well, you know, if you look at last year's election and the outcome, you look at the change in administration at the national level, and you look at folks who are determined to send everything back, to take away the Voting Rights Act, to take away all the gains of the Civil Rights Act, and we continue we have far too many people living in poverty. And if you go all the way back to the 90s, when basically we eliminated welfare for folks who weren't parents, make a correlation between that and folks who are now homeless. All right, which I never thought I'd see anything like that in this country. And you look at vacant properties, and you look at crime, all those things are directly connected to each other, and there have to be solutions to them.
But they're still doing the white folks still. I've seen so many homeless white women and homeless
Did I
black
say anything
guys.
about color when I talked about homeless
You didn't,
people?
but I just want
didn't.
folks to know.
I just want to make it clear.
Yeah.
And so our inner cities, not just Wilmington, are suffering irreparable harm, and there has to be systemic change, and none of that's going to come about without a fight, and those fights are going to have to include demonstrations, confrontation, litigation, legislation, and all those things pertain in there too. But we have to have the will to continue what we've benefited from, and pass on, let folks coming behind us know, young people coming behind us know they have responsibility
Yes.
not to let happen what we've let happen.
Right.
It's our generation's fault.
That's right. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. We got to get these young folks and let them do the work. You know, it's their issues, let them fix their issues. And speaking of that, Leticia Jackson has a group, Mafias, his Mother and Fathers in Action. They're having a community event day, Helen Chambers Park, next Saturday from 12 to 3.
You
So
better knock on some doors
yeah.
and bring the folks out.
That's right. So everybody, please come out and support. That's one of the things that we talked about. This is a parent who had to deal with some stuff in the justice system with her child and decided not to talk about it, not just to think of her child, but let's get together and make something happen for our community. So everybody, please come out and support. You know, we all start from the grassroots. So if we support people now, they're going to be able to support us later. Start waiting for a challenge to come to you before you go ask for help. Let's just start helping everybody. See you in 2
We
weeks.
still got to knock on those doors.